Hello, friends and family. Welcome to day 83, cycle 4, day 19. If you're new, I'm Jen. If you've been before, thanks for coming back. Welcome to my quest to crush aggressive diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, DLBCL. We're using the immunotherapy, chemotherapy, R-EPOCH treatment to crush non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Let's get into it. I'm going to start with some quotes. Quote 1. Don't worry about the world coming to an end today. It's already tomorrow in Australia. Charles Schulz. Quote 2. Worry is the interest paid by those who borrow trouble. George Washington. And quote 3. It's 90% mental, the other half is physical. Yogi Berra. All right, so those quotes should give you an idea of my frame of mind. Where I am is worrying about the upcoming cycle. So I'm starting chemo cycle 5 on Friday, and cycle 4 was not pleasant. And so I'm already starting to worry about how am I going to handle cycle 5 and how much worse is it going to be than cycle 4. And I need to not do that. As I've said before, I should not borrow trouble. What I need to do is adjust my noodle to prepare instead of worry. So what is it that I can do to deal with whatever comes my way? So that is where I am today. I did get a fair amount done, but I'm just very focused on cycle 4 was really bad and cycle 5 could be even worse. And 14 years ago when I did chemo, I was quite miserable, and I could say with all sincerity that cycle 4 felt much more like my 14-year ago experience than the previous 3 cycles. So I am definitely borrowing trouble and worrying about what am I going to do and how am I going to take care of my family and how am I going to take care of my house and all those things if I feel so horrible, and how am I going to work. Although I know that these should not be things that I am worried about, that I should focus on tolerating the treatment and healing and kicking cancer's butt to the curb. But I'm very focused on, I just felt so miserable the last time and I don't really want to do it again. And why would you do that to yourself? So these are the honest things going through my brain. And so I spent a fair amount of time in my downtime worrying about how am I going to handle cycle 5 instead of doing the things I should have been doing. Now that's not, I did accomplish, I think, I'm going to take a quick peek at yesterday's to-do list. I accomplished everything on the must-do list, so I didn't do a bad job today. Now, granted, the list only had four things on it, but I did do everything on that list. So, I don't want to make it sound like I just spent all day sitting around twiddling my thumbs and worrying. I didn't have actually a lot of free time, but in my free time, I was worrying. So I decided to make my quotes about worry and to talk with you honestly about, it is not all rainbows and unicorns. I have good days and bad days. And from a mental perspective, today was not a great day. I really started to drown a little bit in the what ifs and the worry and the anxiety about not feeling great and why do I keep doing this, and I don't want to do it anymore. All those things are in my head today, and so I'm sharing them with you so you have an honest view of what's happening. So I really would like to adjust my attitude and my worry. I don't find worry to be a very useful emotion or feeling. I mean, I think it's honest, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. And, certainly everyone worries and has anxiety. What I would prefer to do is adjust those emotions and focus into what I can do, like a preparation, instead of worrying, actually physically or emotionally prepare in some way so that I'm ready for Friday and what comes in the coming weeks. So maybe that's where I'm going to try and go. In any case, I just really wanted to share this with you guys so you know what's going on in here. All right, so moving on to how am I? Physically, I'm fabulous. I have one little worry on the physical, which I'll share with you when we get to the daily symptoms and statistics. But otherwise, physically, really not feeling symptoms of chemotherapy or being a cancer patient or anything like that. I'm feeling pretty good. Like I said yesterday, almost normal. But definitely in my noodle, I'm starting to worry about what's coming at the end of the week, about the just being on the fanny pack for 4 days and that constant push, and and then I'm really worried about next Tuesday when they push the cytotoxin at me and I just have tank. So I'm wondering, maybe I'll do some research. Maybe that would help me feel better, like I'm doing something. If there's anything that I can do proactively to counteract the effects of the cytotoxin. So maybe that's something I can do physically to redirect my worry into something productive. So here we go. Here's hoping. All right, angel deliveries. To my knowledge, we did not have any, but that is perfectly fine. Doctor news. Nurse Lana came today. She also had no trouble with flush and draw. She said that PICC lines in the left arm do sometimes have positional issues. So maybe that we were struggling a bit because of some kind of positional thing. But she also agreed it could have just been a buildup of fibrin. And if I'm honest, it started when I was really sick the weekend after cycle 4. And I don't know that I did do the flush and the draw twice in those days. Maybe some of those days only had one. Or did I skip one? I don't even remember because those days are kind of a blur. So I will employ my family this round to make sure that I do the flush and the draw twice a day when I'm super sick, just in case. So but somebody else, I'll assign it to somebody else to make sure that they check up and make sure that I do it. Because I do not trust myself on that front. I guess I could set an alarm on my phone or something, but when I feel that sick, I'd prefer to just sleep. So giving it to a human being to follow up might be the better option there. And I do have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, telehealth with my doctor in the morning. I'm going to say 10 or 10:20, 10:30, somewhere in that time frame. So that's the news. I expect I'll be getting a call tomorrow or the next day from the office to do the COVID screening questions, which kind of cracked me up. You know, you or anybody in your family, blah, blah, blah. And then they always ask me, have you been out of the state? And have you been to nursing homes or doctors or hospitals? I'm like, you guys are the ones that would send me, you know. It's kind of bizarro, but whatever. In any case, I always answer I guess I answer it properly because they let me come the next day, right? All right. What else can I tell you about? Well, let's go on to my to-do list, I guess. All right. So for my to-do list today, I worked. And I had a pretty productive day. I was able to do a bit of cleaning. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I did leave a message for Hoff's medication to get refilled. I had 3 robotics calls today, back to back. And I did load the dishwasher. So I wanted to share with you guys kind of, I don't know if I would call it a hack or a life skill, but it's very useful, so I want to share it with you. 2 things. One thing is, if it takes less than a minute, just do it now. So as an example, if you use a bowl and it has to go in the dishwasher, I could just set it in the sink, or it's going to take me less than a minute to set it into the dishwasher. And doing something that takes less than a minute right now prevents you from having an accumulation of tasks. So if I just stick it in the sink, then at some later date, I'm going to have to stand by the sink and load the dishwasher from the sink for some period of time. And now now I have a chore. But if I finish eating and I just stick it right into the dishwasher, instead of having it stop in the sink, I've removed that chore. And likewise, things like you walk in the door, hang up your coat on the hook or on the hanger instead of setting it on a chair, right? It takes less than a minute, and you know where to find your coat every time. We have an issue with some of the folks in my family where, you know, the car keys disappear, the wallet disappears because I left it in the pocket and I don't know what I did with it after that. Is it in the bathroom? Is it still in the pocket? Did it go through the laundry? Is it in my bedroom? Like, where did it go? I'm like, why don't you just always put it down on this shelf as soon as you walk in the door, and then when you're ready to leave, you can pick it up. It's always there, right? So those are the kinds of things. Anything that takes you less than a minute, makes sense to just get it done right now, because otherwise you have to make time to do it later, and often it accumulates, and then you have to make a lot of time, and then you dread it and you don't want to do it. And this is for folks like myself who are not natural lovers of spending hours and hours cleaning. I'll just say that. Particularly over the course of the last 15 years, I find that I prefer to spend the time I have with my family. versus spending it cleaning. Now, I can't live in a house that's not cleaned, and certainly until COVID came, we actually would bring someone in to help us with cleaning because it's none of our favorite thing. But, it's the thing we have to do. So the way that another little kind of similar tip, if I'm boiling water for tea, which I do every morning, or something's in the microwave, cooking something for Bill, or on the stovetop, something that doesn't require my immediate attention, right, where I don't have to be touching it, I take that opportunity to take any silverware or dishes I see in the kitchen and stick them in the dishwasher, or to clear off the table, or to accumulate all the garbage that is accumulated on my counters, because for some reason we can't all just throw it straight into the garbage can. We have to leave it on the counter. Not clear on that one either. Or, there's some recycling that needs to go in the recycling bin. Like all those kinds of things in the minute or 2 minutes that it's cooking in the microwave, or that the water's boiling in the tea kettle, or whatever the thing is that you're doing. And I guess what I'm saying is, instead of going sit down at my desk, or, kind of killing that time while I'm waiting for the next thing, for the microwave to ding or the water to be hot enough to pour it into my tea, I try to fill those minutes with productive activity, like, clearing out, or grab the vacuum cleaner and vacuum, or fold up the grocery bags that are stacked from the groceries and put them away, so I just try to use the time in between the activities I'm doing to get a little cleaning done. And that's what I did today, because I think I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to clean, but it was a very stacked day. And it was. I started work, 8 or 9 this morning, and I finished robotics at, I don't know, it was probably close to 8 or 8:15. I can't remember exactly. So very long day without a lot of space in the middle, but I was able to load the dishwasher. What else did I do today? I straightened and cleaned the kitchen because the nurse was coming. All these kinds of things, and I did them in the in-betweens, right? I didn't spend, go for an hour or half an hour or whatever and clean. When I got up to do something in the middle, I would get some cleaning done. And so that it's more palatable that way. And then the final tip or trick that I hand you, if you have something large that's overwhelming, which we have regularly, like the mess is just too much, for example, commit to cleaning for 5 minutes a day. Set a timer on your phone or on the microwave, or listen to a podcast and set it to shut off in 5 minutes. Any of those things. And I'm going to clean as fast and as hard as I can for those 5 minutes. I'm going to sort through things. I'm going to throw them away. I'm going to put them in a bucket to go someplace else if they belong somewhere else in the house, etc. When the 5 minutes is up, you have fulfilled your obligation. You have 2 choices. Move on and do something else. Or maybe spend another 5 minutes or another 2 minutes, right? But in this way, I've been able to clean a good portion of my house without overwhelming me, or without just feeling like it's too much. So these are the tips I give to you. I don't know that they're helpful or not, but this is how I manage. And like I said, I'm not one of those people that just loves to clean. I mean, I like the output, but I don't enjoy spending a whole afternoon or a whole day working, just cleaning. Like, that feels like a bad use of my time. I'd rather spend it with my family and the people that I love. But even on the weekends, when I do try to get more cleaning in, the way that I do it is I'll spend maybe 10 minutes cleaning, and then I'll give myself a little reward, whether that's reading a book or watching a YouTube video or spending some time with family or eating my lunch or whatever that thing is. So these are my methods. I don't know if they'll help anybody, but there you go. All right, so my to-do list for tomorrow, my must-do list. I need to come up with, probably this is going to happen tonight after this, maybe while I'm rendering the video. I need to come up with a list of questions for my doctor, because I only have a few minutes with them, so I want to make sure I have my questions listed out. I have work. I have another robotics call, but it should be much shorter. I would still like to clean, maybe in the in-between times like we're talking about. I will be doing Hoff's 2-week medicine distribution, because when you're going to pick up his medication from the pharmacy, I did get a text message that it was filled and we're good to go. Now, I don't know if I think I mentioned in my to-do list that I did call again to get the medicine filled. I actually called a different doctor. And it did get filled, so there's a big thumbs up there. The copay is a different story, but we'll deal with it. All right, and my would love to do to-do list is order my logo via Fiverr. Still haven't done that. And work on a meal plan. Soon that's going to be a non-issue because I won't be eating, but we'll try. I do have to get on that. And I did get the ask again from my family. What's for dinner tonight? And tonight I had no answer. I'm like, find something in the fridge and feed yourselves. I'm a horrible parent in that way. Although I might argue that I live in a house full of grown-ups at this point. So is it really my obligation to feed them? All right. I think that's all that I have. Oh, one more thing. Charity miles. So I checked today. I was able to walk. I think I did 1.25 or 1.5 miles today. It was so beautiful here today. We were almost in the 60s, I think. Or maybe we were just into the low 60s. So I walked out to the curb and brought in the recycling bins up to the house. I didn't put them away, but I did bring them up twice. And then I also did some walking in the house for about 10 minutes before a meeting. And at the end of each lap, I would step out onto the side porch just to get a little air and then come back in. So I did that for about 10 minutes, laps around the house, in the house, and then out and then back in. And in any case, I think I did about 1.25 miles or 1.5 miles myself. And collectively, we have 16 people on our team. And we made 442 miles. So we're doing great. I'm very proud of everyone. And I'm so happy that everyone's moving. Much more than me. But that's okay. It's not a competition from that perspective. The thing that makes me joyful is that all those folks are moving their bodies. And that's just so good. Makes me so happy. So thank you. All right. So if you're here just for story time, thank you for joining us today. And we will see you again tomorrow. All right, so let's get into daily symptoms and statistics. Snip, snip, snip. Nausea, no. Mouth pain, no. Teeth pain, no. Throat pain, no. My weight is up to X6.25, so almost just over 1 kilo. However, you will see right here, my fluid in yesterday was 100 ounces, which is 2.95 liters. My out was 1.65 liters. So I retain 1.3 liters. So I talked to Nurse Lana a little bit about this today, and she also corroborated, which I already knew. I think I've shared with you a couple times that in general, just breathing, you exhale about 500 cc's a day, just with the moisture that comes out with your breath. But that's not really cutting it for me. That's a pretty big disparity. And I think I had another day this week where it was a fairly significant disparity. And I thought the next day would make up for it. And it didn't really, right? It was about even. So I'm a little concerned, particularly that there was 2 days that I can recall in the recent past where there's such a significant disparity between the out and the in. And I'm not clear what that means exactly. So that makes me a little worried. So maybe that also contributed to my worrisome attitude today. I could say that my numbers for today, that I'll report tomorrow, are looking much better, but I don't know. And I'm trying to keep my fluid at the same rate because I know come next week it's going to be tougher to keep my fluid numbers up. So I'm really working hard to be in the 100, closer to 100 than to the 60, 80 numbers. Trying to push them up. And the numbers are all water. There's no, maybe protein powder. There's no other, no caffeine or anything going on there. Okay, so sleep was pretty good. My goal was to improve from the day before, and I got 7 hours and 16 minutes. I also had a period towards the end of the day just before robotics where I maybe did a 15 to 20 minute reset where I laid in bed and just closed my eyes and tried to totally relax everything. My movement yesterday was 8,400 steps plus restorative poses. My vitals were fine. When Nurse Lana came, they were good, and even my heart rate was down a bit, so that was good. I still think my neuropathy is improving. I feel it a little bit, but it's not overwhelming me. My hair loss is status quo. My skin is status quo. Nose clots, no. Night sweats, no. Headache, no. Fatigue, no. Red skin, no. Chemo brain, no. So you could see that overall, all my symptoms are pretty much no, which you can't ask for better than that. The weight went up, but that's almost exactly correlating with the fact that my outs were under my ins. Almost exactly. So not clear on me why I'm retaining that fluid, but I'm not sure what the meaning of that is, but hopefully that clears itself up. And that's all I have for you today. So sorry it wasn't quite as upbeat as usual, but wanted to share the real experience as usual, being very transparent. Thank you so much for your love and support. Really appreciate it. And we will see you tomorrow. I love you. Remember, every day is a gift. Live it. See you tomorrow.